Shake, 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 Sinora, shake it all the time.
When you add a shake of Frank's Red Hot, you open a world of better. A world where wings bring out the flavor of game day any day, and where buffalo chicken dip takes any party up a notch. It's the perfect blend of flavor and heat. Frank's Red Hot. I put that on everything.
Hey guys, what's up? Happy Monday, and welcome to the Bird Brain Podcast, where the goal is to rise above it all, stay elevated, create that infinity, and up your you. I'm your host, Isaiah, and today we are going to talk about impact, the people you meet, the people you connect with, and how you just never know. You just never know. You know, sometimes when you look back, you're like, wow, okay. Yeah, I want to talk about that today. Yeah, because last week was kind of, tough for me, and yeah, it's interesting just how things play out. So we're going to get into that. And if you like what you're listening to, as always, head on over to iTunes, subscribe, comment, rate, review, and tell people what you like about the podcast. And yeah, that's it for now. I think we're just going to, hop into this episode and get some water, of course, grab a pen and paper. If you're driving, just tune in, and we're gonna take this podcast on a journey today, and I'll explain all to you. All right, so yeah, get ready and stay tuned. Guys, what's going on? Happy Monday, or happy whatever day you're listening to this. How are you guys out there? How's everything going? The year's winding down pretty quick, and all things are happening. Life is lifing, you know what I'm saying? So it's been interesting. Last week there was the news is pretty crazy, and sometimes it's interesting when you see something on the news and you're not connected to it, and then it hits a little bit different when you know the person, when you knew the person, and that's what last week was for me. There was like a pretty intense, crazy tragedy to take place, unfortunately, and it was just like a full circle kind of week. Last week I the way my day started was I already kind of woke up in a weird space, and then it was my friend's release party. Shout out to my homie Ari. She's releasing some new music, and I was talking to my buddy earlier at the gym, and we were just talking about, the importance of being supported properly, the people you have in your life, stuff, the stuff I usually talk about on here. And, went to her release party, and we were just all chilling around, and a couple of my buddies came over, and they were just being super supportive. Like, they couldn't have said any sweeter of things. And it was just so awesome to just be in good company, chat, chill, the whole vibe. And my buddy, he had sent me this article about there being an incident on a movie set. And the way I read it, I didn't understand it at first. I was like, the way it was worded just didn't make sense to me. And then the director of a film that I was previously working on, he had posted something. And the timing couldn't have been any better because as I was leaving, I actually took a moment to kind of like read what was going on, and it was someone I knew. It was someone I knew, and it hit me like a ton of bricks, and it really kind of stopped me in my tracks because I was in shock, and that never really happens to me. Never really happens to me, but Thursday night it did. And I was just like, whoa, holy shit, okay. And when certain things take place, I think we're so, I don't want to say we. For me, I'm still trying to figure out how I process things. Like, what is my process? Because when I read that article, I had to read it again, and then I read it again, and then I saw who it was, and it just hit me, and I was like, how is this real right now? And the following day woke up, read a ton of articles and everything like that, and it was just a lot, and it hit me pretty hard. And you never know who you're going to meet on your journey, and you never know when you're going to meet him again. And that's what my story is in terms of like my connection to the woman that passed. And the dope thing about it is that I remember when we met for the first time very vividly. I was I was just in LA. I just kind of got to LA a couple months prior, and I was going to this SAG screening for the awards ceremony. And I didn't want to go at first because I was like, I don't know who the hell's going to be there. Like, I'm not, big on just talking to strangers still. It's a grown ass adult. Having small talk with strangers and the quote unquote networking thing and all of that. Everything just kind of feels like work when you go to these things. So I'd rather not go. But I went. I went with my buddy. We went. And I sat at the table with Helena Hutchins. And that was the first time, we met. And we were just talking, having a human ass interaction. And that's very rare out here because it's like people won't talk to you unless you can do something for them, or people will only talk to you to see what you can do for them. It's never much of an authentic kind of connection. And that's what stuck out to me. And this was like 3 years ago. Yeah, that's what stuck out to me because we were just chatting. We talked about film and everything like that, but we also talked about life, and we just got, it was real. And I appreciated that so much. It was real. And, we exchanged contact information. She's like, keep in touch. I want to work with you. We should work together, yada, yada, yada. So I made sure to follow up immediately. She's like, great, got it, thank you. And that was that for a little bit. Fast forward to April of 2019. So a year later, I come on set of a project that I was acting in, and she happens to be the cinematographer. And the director introduced me to her, and I was like, wait, no. I was like, hey, I'm Isaiah. I was like, I remember you. And she's like, oh yeah, I remember you as well. And we got to talking, and we caught up and everything like that. And we just worked on set that day. Like, I was on set for the rest of the day. So we just got to talking and, catching up and everything. Obviously she was working, but I just remembered that experience when I first met her, and then to see her again, it was just like one of those things, right? And then to get this news, hit me like a ton of bricks. I didn't even want to do an episode because I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to talk about. I was like, I don't have anything to really talk about. This week was what it was. Last week was whatever it was going to be. And, that happened. The news hit. I'm like, it was rough. It was rough. And it just made me realize, the importance of connection. How relationships, the relationships that you cultivate in life. Here's the driving force behind this episode. The relationships that you cultivate in life they're so delicate, for one. Like, people you hear all the time, life is short, yada, yada, yada. But relationships are very delicate, and interactions are, can be fleeting. But people may not remember what you say. People may not remember what you do, but they'll never forget how you make them feel. And I love that quote by Maya Angelou because it's true. There's some people you can meet in a week that may treat you better than some people you've known all your life. There are some people that you just have an experience with once, and that impacts your life in a great way. Whatever case, it has influence. It creates a ripple effect in your life and who you are. And I even think about that in terms of, the lives I do on TikTok, the weekly lives I do where I, just chat with my TikTok homies. And at this point, it's just like the crew. It's just like the crew. And we're chatting, we're chilling, we're having a good laugh. And that's just what it is. It's just humans being humans and connecting with each other. Never meeting, but connecting with each other. And, that's why there are some friendships that I have that have withstood time without proximity being involved, and still very, very much sincere, genuine, intimate connections. And it's just interesting. It's just interesting how you are affected. And, I'll say how I'm affected, because I went through my head. I was like, well, I didn't know her for that long. But I was like, but that doesn't matter. Because evidently how I felt over the last few days and how I'll continue to think about this is indicative that the duration didn't matter, because the times that we did meet impacted me well enough to have some imprint. And I appreciate that. It's like I really do appreciate that reality of how we impact others, and me understanding that I impact people too that I may have never met, but still there's a level of impact there. We just never know who we're impacting. We just never know who's going to impact us. And yeah, it's weird, it's interesting, and it's it makes you realize more than anything that you don't need to know somebody for 20 years to have a solid foundation built. You don't need all of these things, these stipulations, all of these things to have a genuine connection. And I used to kind of think that, you needed to know somebody. Yes, there are things that you pick up on people after you've known them for a while, but those are habits I'm talking about. But when it comes to human connection, if somebody's real, you get it. You get it, you pick up on it, and that's that. And it doesn't take much to understand that, and it doesn't take much to realize and recognize that. Good, bad, or indifferent, because some people can know that you're genuine and authentic and they take advantage of that. Meanwhile, other people can know you're genuine and authentic and they are the same and you guys just meet in the middle and something happens, right? And that's what I appreciated. Like I said, in this industry, in this business, it's very rare that you meet authentic people who are just looking to connect authentically. So when it happens, it sticks out to me in a very big way. And that's what this was. And that's why it hit me the way it did, because connection is currency. Connection is currency, and people in your life kind of just make deposits or withdrawals as they come and go. And it's a beauty when someone makes a large deposit in some way, shape, or form, without them even knowing, she has definitely, and she'll never know this, how much that initial conversation meant to me, and how vividly I remember the interaction and the exchange, and how awesome it was to see her again on set working together, because she was like, we need to work together. And obviously she had no idea I'd be acting, and I had no idea she'd be the cinematographer on set, but the universe made it that we ended up working together. And it was a very awesome project. Check out Blind Fire on Amazon. I don't think I ever told you guys the name, but yeah, it's Blind Fire on Prime. And that movie had already meant a lot to me. It had symbolism, it had layers to it, and the undertones and everything. It was just an important project. Mike Nell did a very amazing job with that. And then to have this tragedy happen, it just added a new layer onto why that project will always be so important to me. So important to me, and I will hold it dear. And yeah, it's just, life is weird. Life is weird. Life is definitely an anomaly, and when you take all the rules off, it's like we're just all walking around, plugging in and unplugging into each other. And sometimes you end up on the same frequency with someone else, either for a moment or for many moments. And let that be a reminder to you guys, because it was a reminder for me last week, even on my end. It's still surreal to know that I may impact people just by existing. We don't always think that, right? We don't think that who we are just as humans is not impactful enough in a big way. We think that we go through life, and even when we've had past experiences, we're like, yeah, that person doesn't care, or that person doesn't think much of me, etc. And sometimes they do. People never forget how you make them feel. And if you've gone through life and you've done your best to make people feel good just by existing, you have left some footprints. You have definitely left some footprints. You'll continue to do that because that's who you are. And it was awesome, like I said, to be hit with that in a very weird way, but also to have some friends that were supporting me. They were like bigging me up about the book, and like just some of the most amazing things that they could say. I was just like, holy shit, really? And they're like, yeah, always appreciated you, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, wow, I did not know that. And it's the essence of not waiting to appreciate people, waiting for the perfect moment, instead just like always making a point to appreciate each other is necessary, because sometimes people need to hear it. And I think sometimes we go so much through life looking at our big ass to-do list that we don't look at what we've already done list. And that's why I think it's so important to be mindful of the company you keep and have supportive people in your life. You know, people that are like a breath of fresh air and remind you that, hey, I appreciate you. I value you. I support you. You know, any way I could show up, hey, I'm just checking on you. That all matters, you know. And I think social media kind of definitely takes away from it, because one thing I will say, which I find very interesting and kind of unnerving, is how many people can look at your social media all day and never make a point to actually check on you. They'll check your social media before they check on you. And they'll constantly check your social media before they ever check on you. And it's like, wow, interesting. You know, interesting. So it's like, you know, just be mindful. Just be mindful of how you move through life, and understand that if you make it a point to just be kind, that shit goes a long way. Actually, yes, I was at a photo shoot last week too. This is why it's all coming full circle, because I was at a photo shoot, and the photographer, her and I, we were former coworkers, and we were sitting around a table, and they're like, well, how do you and Isaiah know each other? She said we used to work together, and Isaiah was one of the only people that actually treated me like a human. He was one of the only people that treated me like an equal, that was kind to me, that was real. I didn't know that. I did not know that. And she was like, you know, every time I worked with him, I knew I was going to be fine. I knew it was going to be a good day. I look forward to working. And me, that's how I felt about her, because she knew her shit. She's a bomb-ass photographer, and she just did her thing. So it was mutual respect and appreciation and admiration. But just to hear that and not know it was kind of wild. So, yeah. I don't really know what this episode was, guys. It was just me verbally processing a lot of what last week was. But more than anything, it just reminded me that, you know, there are people that will come across your path and people you will cross paths with, and you will impact each other. There are people that are looking to support you. There are people who value who you are and just love that about you, and want to not only take from what you have, but also offer up in whatever way that they can. And that's a beautiful thing. You know, a lot of times people are like, oh yeah, you're so thoughtful and so caring and all those things. And it's like, but do you take the time to think and care for me as well? Yeah. So that's what this episode was. Just being mindful of your connections, because connection is currency. And you know, I know it's that whole cliche of like life isn't promised and tomorrow isn't promised, and it's true. It's very real. It's a very real thing, but it just doesn't. I don't think it takes work to appreciate people if you actually appreciate them. To check on people, make sure they're okay. To check on yourself, make sure you're good. But just exist and be human. You know, and that's why I am very selective about the company I keep, because it's like I just want to always make sure they're good. And there are ways to do that. So that's all I got. Oh, before I forget, this week I'll be releasing an exclusive Halloween episode, and it's gonna be fucking amazing. And it's gonna be paid admission, so like you could donate whatever you want to donate, but it all goes to the actors that I will be having on the podcast for this particular episode. I'll figure out a way to upload it exclusively, or what I will have you guys do is, if you want this exclusive Halloween episode, like you want to actually listen to this, it's going to be about an hour. It's like a solid ass horror story that I wrote, and I'm really excited about this. And like I said, I want to make sure I pay my actors, so any donations that you guys make will go to the actors. And yeah, because you got to take care of your peoples, right? So I think I wanted to do like a paid admission kind of thing, like how you go to the movies and you pay admission. So I think what I'll do is if you guys want access to this episode, whoever's listening, email at the Bird Brain Podcast with the subject headline Night Owl Halloween episode, and I'll send you the link and you can listen to it exclusively, because I really want this to feel like a movie awesome experience, and very separate from my usual like short horror story night owl episodes, because Halloween is important to me, and I always like to do something pretty awesome. So this is going to be the thing this year. And yeah, if you want access to it, shoot an email, the Bird Brain Podcast at gmail.com, subject headline Night Owl Halloween episode, and I'm going to get that set up and sent out to you guys, and I think you truly will enjoy it. A lot of work went into this, and it's going to be good. Yeah, so with that, guys, honestly, take care of yourselves, and really take care of each other. Really take care of each other. My condolences to Helena Hutchins and her family. Thank you for being one of the people that left some footprints in my life. Yeah. Take flight.